Henry Harrison Bell was born on September 29th, 1830, in Benton County, Tennessee. Henry was named after his grandfather, Henry Harrison. Henry was the third of 14 children born to James, and I don't know if she pronounced her name Carolyn or Caroline, Harrison Bell. When Henry was born, his father was 29 and his mother was 18. Henry's story was difficult to research since Henry's family search and ancestry pages have very conflicting dates and information that don't match up. For example, according to one page, he divorced his wife Sarah in 1903. There are no sources attached to this to confirm it. According to Find a Grave, Sarah passed away in 1883. So Sarah was getting a divorce 20 years after her death. And even though Sarah was 47 or 48 at the time of her death, this photo is attached to her Find a Grave page. I'm sorry, I know times were very difficult back then, but this is the oldest looking 48-year-old I've ever seen. I really don't believe this is Sarah. It's difficult to wade through all the false information when there's so much of it. Thankfully, Virginia Brown posted a great biography typed up on Henry's Find a Grave page. It's sourced from a book that she wrote about the family titled The Family of James and Carolyn Bell. The first thing Virginia does is she starts calling out one rumor about Henry, that he was a full-blooded Cherokee Indian who walked the Trail of Tears in his youth. He then escaped his fate by hiding in a cave, and he eventually moved to Ozark County, Missouri. They then claimed he lived out his life with several unlawful marriages to white women. Virginia writes, none of this is true. When Henry was 13 in 1843, his family, along with his grandfather Henry, moved from Tennessee to Cooper County, Missouri. 2 years later, in 1845, they left Missouri and moved to Washington County, Arkansas. Henry grew up here, attending school and helping his family on the farm that his father and grandfather had started together. In 1850, 20-year-old Henry was still living with his parents and working on the farm for a job. The year Henry's first marriage happened is unknown. It is guessed it happened between 1850 and 1853. For a while, Henry's first wife's name was unknown. One record was found that shows his first wife's name was listed as Lou Eyes Bell, but nothing else is known about her. They did have one son together, John Henry, who was born in November of 1853. Henry then married for a second time. Henry and Sarah Jane Young married in Arkansas in 1861. Henry was 30 and Sarah was 26. Henry and Sarah would have 9 children together, 7 boys and 2 girls. Emmanuel, William, Henrietta, Manford, Irvin, Marion, Alvis, Mary, and Oliver. In 1880, Sarah and Henry were on the census, and they had moved to Ozark County, Missouri. They were still farming for a living. Their last child, Oliver, was born in 1881, and Sarah passed away a few years after this. Sarah died in 1883 at the age of 47 or 48. She is buried in Eaton Cemetery in Ozark County, Missouri. 3 years later, on March 6, 1886, 55-year-old Henry married 18-year-old Frances or Louisa Driscoll. Henry and Louisa would have 3 daughters together, Alzona, Maddie, and Hattie. I checked, and Maddie and Hattie were not twins. Louisa's Find a Grave page had a little paragraph on it that said, Henry and Louisa lived in a large log house near Brixie at the head of Owens Hollow. Their farm was located east of the Brixie General Store and just up the hill from his brother, Malachi. All 3 of their daughters, Zona, Maddie, and Hattie, were born there. Today, all that remains of the old log house is its foundation and a lone rose bush. Henry and Louisa were married for 17 years before divorcing in August of 1903. For some perspective, Louisa was 36 and Henry was 73 during this time. According to Louisa's Find a Grave page, in 1900, Henry and Louisa moved from their log home in Brixie to the little town of Bertha. At this point, Louisa had helped raise Henry's 9 children from his second marriage to Sarah. The youngest child, Oliver, was 20 years old and he had moved out and was working in Springfield, Missouri. This was when their marriage started to deteriorate and Henry had decided he wanted to live alone. Virginia also typed up this little narrative on Louisa's page. Virginia wrote, "That cold, bleak winter day on February 13th, 1902, was forever stamped in Louisa's memory. It was the day before Valentine's Day, 1 month before they would celebrate their 16th wedding anniversary. Alzona was 13, Maddie 12, and Hattie 8. Henry forced them to move to another house he had provided and severed all ties to them." She then wrote more later, but Virginia never went back and wrote more. Virginia, don't leave me hanging. What happened after this? After the divorce, within 5 weeks, Louisa had remarried to George Berry. Henry never remarried after the divorce and later moved in with his oldest grandson, James William Bell, the son of his oldest son, John. In the summer of 1921, Henry's health started to go downhill. Henry passed away that fall on October 23, 1921, at the home of his grandson. He was 91 years old. Henry's cause of death was listed as inflammation of the bowels. This is another death certificate I couldn't read. If you know what it says, leave me a comment. I think it says from swallowing, but I can't make out the last 2 words. Henry is buried in Eaton Cemetery with Sarah. Henry has a simple stone. Notice his name is misspelled. His epitaph says, "Blessed are the pure in heart." This is wrote in someone's cursive handwriting, and as you can see, the word R is misspelled. My family tree showed that I'm not related to Henry, but my husband is. He is my husband's 6th cousin, 6 times removed. Thank you for watching. Rest in peace, Henry.